let's go ahead and talk about Tucker Carlson and this new development in the war between him and Fox News. Let's put this up here on the screen, guys. Fox News escalating its actions against Tucker, saying they have sent a cease and desist letter to Tucker as he ramps up the competing series on Twitter that has drew a combined, quote, 169 million views for its first 2 episodes. Now, it's important to note here, Fox did not actually release the cease and desist letter. It's very likely Tucker's legal team, because in bold at the very top of the letter is, quote, not for publication. Tucker and his legal team have really hit back at Fox News, maintaining that it is his First Amendment right to be able to continue posting on Twitter. And he says that Fox has already committed material breaches of his own contract, which frees him up to do this. Fox, though, is continuing to pay Tucker Carlson. They say that the contract keeps his content, all content, exclusive to Fox all the way through December 31st of 2024. So currently, right now, the Tucker Carlson on Twitter show, Crystal, is scheduled to return actually today
right?
On Tuesday. Tucker said that Tucker's executive producer, Justin Wells, his former producer on his original show, Tucker Carlson Tonight, said that they would be returning on Tuesday so that Tucker could give his thoughts on the Trump indictment. Now, why I think this is important is no signs of stopping. The original Tucker Carlson on Twitter show was released. Fox News came to them and said, hey, you need to stop doing that, or we're going to say that you're in breach of contract. He released a second show. Then they've officially sent this now cease and desist letter. Well, the legal team also is saying that this is not going to stop. Let's put this next one up on the screen. Harmeet Dillon, a well-known Republican lawyer. She is also representing Tucker Carlson as well. She tweeted this out yesterday. My friend and client Tucker will not be silenced by the far left or by Fox News. And Harmeet actually was a very frequent guest on the Fox News program. She said she will no longer appear on the network at all as this war continues. And really, it reveals, kind of the war that's going on behind the scenes. And also, in terms of this whole non-compete, I mean, and you and I, take Tucker out of it, you and I have also been at the center of this nonsense before. Yeah. These things should be straight up illegal.
They should be illegal.
There's no reason people should be bound by this, whether they can fake pay you not to work. I mean, yeah, it sounds like a decent deal, but to me, it is a violation of First Amendment right. It's like what a company owns, not only your image, your likeness, but your ability to say anything about what you think whatsoever. He's not even making any money off this. It's not like he charged anything. It's not like Elon is paying him. It's straight up his ability to put thoughts out online.
Yeah, it has major implications way beyond Tucker, because every single media contract has these non-competes in them. And by the way, I mean, this is like the super highbrow version of this problem, where it's like you can't go to work for any other network for some period of time, and we're going to still pay you millions of dollars.
Ridiculous.
Like, that's the highbrow version of this problem.
Right, you're right.
These non-competes are also becoming rife, throughout our society. Even like sandwich shop workers.
I believe it's Jimmy John's.
Yeah, having to sign non-competes. They can't go down the street and work for Subway or whatever. I mean, it's just it's gotten wildly out of hand. And so, as I said before, you've got sort of like Tucker aligning with the Biden administration and the most unpredicted horseshoe of all time to do away with these non-compete clauses, because it is really abusive. And the ones in media contracts are particularly bad because they lock you up for a long period of time. And if Fox is arguing now, as they clearly are, that even being able to put on a video on Twitter, that's banned by your non-compete. I have no idea how the courts are going to view this. I'm sure it will depend a lot on what judge you get and all that kind of stuff. But it could have really far-reaching consequences for the entire media landscape if a judge comes in and says, no, this non-compete is either unconstitutional to start with. I mean, that would be an earthquake in media and across the entire economy. But if they even specifically say, no, Twitter, that it doesn't apply to Twitter, it doesn't apply to social media, it doesn't apply to these other platforms, that would be huge as well. Because then any creator who feels like they have that pull with an audience, they can, at any point, that gives them a lot more power to say, screw you, to their bosses when, they want them to wear the sweater or whatever it is, and go and create their own product. So it could be quite significant if that is the case. Fox News clearly wants to keep him off the air through the election. I totally understand why. I mean, he was a huge ratings generator for them. They have not been able to even come close to filling his shoes in that slot, just in terms of audience numbers and ratings. Now, he had become somewhat of a liability for them with regard to advertisers. So, like, the business piece of it is a little bit less clear cut. But there's no doubt they want him disappeared at least through the next presidential election. And I think it's going to be quite consequential what happens here.
Yeah, absolutely. So Tucker is scheduled to interview Ron DeSantis at an event in the near future.
Interesting.
And the Turning Point USA conference, where he was already scheduled to speak, I'm told that he will still likely be appearing there. He remains on the schedule. There's another event and conference put on by ISI where he's also scheduled to continue to speak. So those comments, I think we'll all be watching close, because that's the first time he'll have been speaking outside of a produced environment, especially the DeSantis one. He's going to be at a conference and be interviewing DeSantis there on the stage. I'm interested to see why DeSantis even agreed to be interviewed by Tucker, because I'm hoping it gets him on Ukraine, on the complete waffle that happened whenever he submitted an answer to Tucker and then changed his answer completely in an interview later on. And so what do you believe, man? You know, are you pro-Ukraine aid or anti-Ukraine aid? Like, give us a straightforward answer on what he believes on that. So overall, it's not like they are 100% silencing him in terms of his show just yet, and he is still scheduled to have some sort of electoral impact, which I think is what they were scared of in the first place.
I'm a little surprised DeSantis is doing that, to be honest with
shocked,
you, because he's very careful about his media appearances, and you know, it's unlikely that this will be entirely comfortable and 100% softball, so that will be interesting to watch. With regard to Tucker on Twitter, you know, it does really beg the question, like, what is the limiting principle of these non-competes? Because even him, you know, live streaming an interview with Ron DeSantis, is that a breach of his contract? Does Fox News consider that to be in violation of non-compete? I mean, just in the modern landscape, where does it end? Can you do a podcast? Can you send a tweet? Can you do an Instagram live? Can you post a YouTube video? Can you go on Rumble? Can you go on somebody else's show on Rumble? Like, what are the constraints? And it does give credence to his First Amendment argument that if they're saying basically, no, all of that is off the table, then you are completely quashing someone's ability to speak. So I do think it's important. You know, I am far from a Tucker fan. I have a lot of issues with his politics and a lot of things that he says. But if you take him out of it and consider just what this means for independent media, what it means for the media landscape, it's actually a really important case.
Yeah, well, we believe in free speech, you know, no matter what. We were personally impacted by these BS non-competes, and you can't even imagine the amount of BS that we had to go through just to be able to put this show on the air.
We were basically held hostage for a period of time.
I can't go into too many details, but there were a couple guns to the old heads here of Crystal and Sagar, who, by the way, were the crazy ones, because we were like, okay, we'll walk, you know, and it's like we really kind of put it up to the edge, and we're willing to basically be unemployed for a while, which is the only reason things worked out on our end. But, you know, not a lot of people have the luxury of saying, okay, you know, we won't get paid, and to take the big risk kind of that we did here. So anyway, that's actually always a good reminder. Thank you all so much. You guys helped make this show a success, because without it, you know, we'd be starving in a ditch.
Yeah, it's easy to forget that, all of that, when we're sitting here on our beautiful news set. But it took a lot to get here.
Yeah, it took a long time.
You guys made it happen. Hey guys, if you like that video, go to breakingpoints.com, become a premium subscriber, and help us build the best independent media organization on the planet.
That's right. We're subscriber funded. We're building something new. We want to replace these failing mainstream media organizations.
So again, to subscribe, it's breakingpoints.com.